Welcome to rSlash Entitled Parents, where a stupid entitled father gets himself arrested. Our next Reddit post is from Zombie Microwave. About 3 months ago, we had some new neighbors move in, and they started a daycare out of their home. The kids really haven't been as much of an issue as I was expecting, aside from some occasional noise. The parents, on the other hand, oh god, the parents. It started with this one dude, Jim. Jim liked to park in our driveway. It wasn't really an issue at first. He was usually only there for a few minutes, and my housemate works in the morning, so his car wasn't there. However, my housemate switched to the evening shifts about a month in, and his beat-up Crown Vic proudly took up half of the driveway. Jim did not like this. No, he did not. There was a Crown Vic in his parking spot. So he honked and he honked, made a lot of noise, much to the shame of his 2 young boys. Now me, not being effing insane, went outside to go see who was honking out in front of my house at 8 a.m., and we had this exchange. "You're in my spot!" This is my driveway. You can park in the street if you need to drop off your kids. "Don't tell me what to do! Move your car! You're in my spot!" Alright, hold on. My keys are inside. At this point, I went inside and told my housemate what was going on, since he had blearily stumbled out into the living room in nothing but his pajama pants to see what all the ruckus was about. About a minute went by, and Jim, the patient and considerate soul that he was, began honking again. My housemate and I decided to ignore him and make oatmeal. After a while, the honking stopped, and we assumed that was that. Oh, how wrong we were. 2 days go by with no sign of Jim. Our neighbors brought us an apology pie, which was delicious. They'd apparently told him not to park in our driveway when he started doing it, but he told them that we said that it was fine. But we had never talked to him before this incident. On day 3, I am again awoken by the delightful noise of honking. I look outside and it's Jim. My neighbors come outside and start talking to him. He's still honking. The kids see what's about to happen and go inside the daycare. I come outside along with my housemate, who, again, is only wearing pajama pants. "You need to get out of my spot! My spot!" My housemate said, "Nope, not today, crazy." My housemate said, "I'm gonna call the cops, OP." I said, "Tell them to bring a straitjacket and a fancy padded van and maybe a tow truck." Jim shouted, "Your pants make you look like a slur for a gay person." "Only when I'm sucking dick." At this point, Jim had at least stopped honking. You'd think he was trying to seduce a goose or something. He flipped us off and drove away, which was hysterical since we live in a cul-de-sac and he had to do an awkward 3-point turn before leaving. The cops sent a squad car and we gave them what information we had. They also talked to the neighbors as well as doing a wellness check on Jim's kids, who mostly just seemed embarrassed. They offered to send someone out the next morning, and we agreed since we were tired of the noise. The next day, Jim showed up in his ugly sedan. He sat in his car and the honking began. But this time, what joy! Justice prevailed. Jim got arrested and now has to pay bail. It turns out that Jim had a warrant out for his arrest for something else. I heard that he assaulted a cashier or something, but I'm not sure how true that is. The mom picked the kids up from daycare, and she did not demand to park in our driveway. We haven't seen him since. I know that he's out of jail because the cops told us to call them if he shows up and does his goose impression again, but so far, no sign of him. Our next Reddit post is from Chess Hatter. I'm not a native English speaker, so it might be that I'm using the wrong term here. But in my culture, a liberal upbringing means the child can do whatever they want as long as they're happy. This story happened to a friend of mine a couple of years back, so the conversation won't be 100% word for word accurate. One day, my friend went to the supermarket, and there were quite a few people waiting in line because it was Saturday. Waiting in line were, among others, an old lady, a teenager, and an entitled mother and kid. My friend was the next person in line after the person being helped at the moment by the cashier. So the order of people waiting in line is the person being checked out, my friend, an old lady, and then the entitled mom and kid, and then a teenager. The old lady had to walk with a cane and was patiently waiting behind my friend. All of a sudden, she feels something banging against her cane. She looks down and sees the entitled kid kicking the cane for some reason. The mom is busy loading her groceries on the conveyor belt, so she's not paying attention to her kid. The old lady says in a friendly tone, "Could you please stop kicking my cane, dear? I need it to walk and keep my balance." The entitled kid stops kicking and quickly hides behind their mom. The old lady smiled at them, then turned back around and smiled at my friend, who had turned around to see what was going on. 10 seconds later, the old lady once again feels something banging against her cane. She turns around, and again, the entitled kid was kicking it. The old lady said, "Dear, I'm asking you again. Could you please stop kicking my cane? I need it for my balance. If you keep kicking it, you might kick it away and I could fall." The entitled kid stops kicking for a second, grins gleefully, and starts kicking the cane again, quite hard this time. The old lady turns to the entitled mother and asks in a friendly tone, "Could you please tell your kid to stop kicking my cane? I've told him 2 times how dangerous this could be for me, but they don't want to listen." The entitled mother starts huffing and puffing. "My kid isn't doing anything dangerous. He's just kicking it because he's a bit bored. You haven't fallen over yet, have you? So it's sturdy enough to take a few kicks." At this point, the old lady is starting to get annoyed. Who wouldn't be? And she asks the mother again to tell her kid to stop kicking the cane. "No, I will not tell him to stop. I gave my child a liberal upbringing so they can do whatever they want if it makes them happy." My friend notices the teenager behind the entitled mother, who's been watching the scene unfold for quite some time, and it's obvious he was getting angry. He had a big bottle of orange juice in his hands, and as the entitled mother started yelling, "My child can do whatever he wants. That's what it means to practice a liberal upbringing, and the old lady just wants to ruin his fun." At this point, the teenager unscrews the cap on the bottle and dumped the orange juice all over the entitled mother's head. The entitled mother immediately shuts up in shock and turns to look behind her at the teenager, who just grins and says, "My mom gave me a liberal upbringing too. So if I want to dump orange juice all over some stuck-up B-word of a woman because her kid is harassing a poor old lady, I can do it because it makes me happy." This caused everyone in the line, except for the entitled mother, of course, to start laughing. Our next Reddit post is from Malachi. "So my family owns a bed and breakfast. This story takes place during that really big hurricane in 2018. It was when the hurricane had just turned into a tropical storm. Sometime that morning, an entitled parent called, and this is the conversation that ensued. Hello, this is OP's Bed and Breakfast. OP speaking. Hi, OP. Me and my husband are spending a few nights with you in 2 weeks, and we were wondering if we could bring our son with us. We can certainly add another person to your stay. May I ask how old your son is? He's 10 years old. Well, I'm very sorry, but unfortunately, we don't accept any children under 13 years old. He's very well-mannered and very mature for his age. I'm sorry, ma'am, but it's simply policy. Well, couldn't you just make one exception? At this point, I can see where this is heading, and usually when we don't want things to get out of hand, we use this excuse. Once again, I apologize, but the state says that our bed and breakfast can't accept anyone under 13. Now, I can refer you to another bed and breakfast in the area who would be happy to accommodate your family. Oh, well, I can't do that. I'll just stay at your business. Okay, ma'am. Anything else I can help you with? Of course. Of course. How much to add a third person in a separate room? To add another person would be whatever the rate on the room for those dates would be. But I must ask, are you referring to your son? No, of course not. He's too young, she said so unconvincingly. May I ask who you're bringing? My son. Ma'am, as I said before, we can't accept anyone under 13. Well, can I just cancel my reservation then? If that's what you wish to do, then of course. We have a 14-day policy that you lie within, so we'll have to keep your first night's deposit. I'm not paying for a room that I'm not sleeping in. It's our policy, and it's clearly stated when you make the reservation. There's a low chance the room can be re-rented, and it pays for the companies that route our business, as well as the credit card company and any supplies that we brought in preparation of your stay. The entitled parent clearly doesn't understand this and continues to scream at me that I can't take her money because she hasn't stayed with us. This goes back and forth until she hangs up in frustration. I go ahead and process the cancellation, and I thought that was the end of it. Oh boy, was I wrong. This is where the hurricane comes into the story. Hello, OP Bit and Brett. I want to cancel my reservation. I've already processed your cancellation. It's taken care of. So, I have my money back? No, ma'am. We had to keep the first night's deposit. Well, I saw that your area is being affected by the hurricane. That would be incorrect, ma'am. The coast did see some of the hurricane, but now it's just a tropical storm, and we expect to see no more than 3 inches of rain by the end of it. Yeah, but all the highways are closed, and it'll be all wet and muggy. Yeah, but the highways won't be closed in a week and a half when your reservation was. And it was your choice to vacation in a coastal state during hurricane season, ma'am. At this point, she berates me with more screaming, and she gets her husband on the phone. Who, if you're reading this, I respect you, but man, dude, I feel sorry for you. The husband goes on to say, so there's no way for us to get our money back? No, sir, it's simply policy. I say, expecting hell to rain down. All right, thank you anyways. Have a nice day. You too, I say, relieved for it to be over. Or so I thought, again. Hello, OP Bit. I want my money or I'm gonna show up anyways and I expect to be accommodated. Finally, my dad, who's the owner of our bed and breakfast, overhears this and takes the phone. Now, I don't know what else the entitled parent said over the next few minutes, but I do know my dad and he doesn't take any flack. My dad calmly responded with, "This is my home as well as my business. If you decide to show up, we will treat you as an intruder. The cops are no more than a few blocks away, and we have a right to defend our home." He hung up and blocked the number, but not before writing it down on a sticky note and putting it over the calendar on the date of the arrival. Luckily for them, the entitled parent and her kid never showed up. But if her husband ends up divorcing her and seeing this post, I'll happily let you stay a night for free. Man, when she said, okay, you win. I won't bring my son to the thing. By the way, how much is it to add a third person in an extra room? I was completely not expecting that, but it was so funny. It's just so stupid. Like, come on, lady. How dumb do you think OP really is? Our next Reddit post is from That Bullfrog. There's a mini zoo not far away from where I live. They only have animals like small monkeys and other creatures, nothing too massive. My boyfriend and I decided to go because he told me that he had never seen a red panda or a capybara, and the zoo had both of those animals. Anyway, sometime at the zoo I went to use the bathroom. I was on my period. Also in the bathroom was a mother with her 4 or 5-year-old son. I opened my pad and was minding my own business. Meanwhile, she starts yelling at me for being inappropriate around my son. I was confused, so I asked her what I did wrong, and she said that I was introducing adult activities to my little boy, and he's asking for some of the sweets that you have. She wasn't wrong. Her son was having a tantrum on the floor because she thought that my sanitary pad was candy. I apologized and went to go wash my hands. She then looked at me and asked me where my kids were. I said that I didn't have any kids. She then asked me who I was with, and I just told her that I was with my boyfriend. She lost it again, saying that my boyfriend and I were selfish for taking up slots at the zoo for a family that could have needed it, and that I should have done something else because apparently adults can't have fun or go to the zoo anymore. I didn't know what to say, and I was really confused, so I just left. I met up with my boyfriend after I left the bathroom and told him what happened. He didn't believe me until the lady came storming up to me again and demanded that I buy her son some candy because you upset him and let him on. And she told us, leave so that other families can have your spots. My boyfriend is a very tall and scary-looking Romanian man. And here in the UK, people are really scared of Eastern Europeans, so it only took him opening his mouth and asking her what she meant to get rid of her. He also believed me after this. So yeah, that was something. Huh? How is a period adult activity? Is it because it comes out of lady bits? But so does urine. Going pee comes out of genitals too. So how is a period any more of like an adult thing than peeing or pooping? Our next Reddit post is from Triamorth. So I'm visiting my grandparents here in Fulton, Kentucky. I love going to the lakes, so we go to one called Reelfoot Lake. As I found out, there's a big climbable tree there, and the top jumping branch is about 25 feet in the air. Most people were jumping off from about 10 feet, but one kid, about 15 years old, wanted to jump from the top. So when he gets up there and jumps, he lands on his back. I guess he didn't know the proper diving technique. I wait for him to move out of the way or something, but he pops up saying, "Help! I can't breathe! I can't swim!" And nobody else was paying attention to him, so I jumped down and swam to him. He was a pretty big guy, bigger than me, and I had to swim underwater to keep him afloat and push him to the shore. Once we got there, his parents asked what happened, and I told them the story. The mom immediately started taking care of her son, trying to figure out what went wrong. But the dad started to question me and call me a gay P-word that I can't say on YouTube. He said that I should have let him rescue his kid on his own and that he was going to call the cops. I tried to explain to him that his son was drowning from the impact that he must have gotten from the fall, but the dad kept on insisting. The kid was coughing up water and was pale-faced sitting on the grass. Then the mom kinda took the dad aside and talked to him with their backs turned to me. She must have talked him out of it because he just ignored me and they hauled the kid to their car. I hope he's okay and they got him taken care of. It was kinda surreal because I actually saved someone from drowning. I have to wonder if the dad actually genuinely thought that you were being a P-word, or if he was just so butthurt that he wasn't the one who got to save his kid and instead some stranger saved his kid that he decided to lash out at you because, I don't know, he's a stupid idiot. That was r/Entitled Parents, and if you like this content, check out my podcast where I publish the exact same episodes. Also, hit that subscribe button because I put out new Reddit videos every single day.